God never ignores a woman's tears. Not one that sang the blues like you do. He has no respect for women.
I was born by the river in a little tent.
Oh, can you make me a star? I make your dreams come true.
I know you will.
Number one, hi Candiace, hi Darrel, hi Dennis.
Hello.
I mean, all of the people, listen, it is early in the morning here in LA, but I am so excited. Look, living in Hollywood, you get all of the things.
Please
So
not right now.
all of the
Don't
things.
do it.
I mean, listen, living here, but everybody, welcome back to Power 97.5 LA, iHeartRadio, Power B 97.5 Vegas, and I'm so excited about right now because I was surprising Dennis today because he did not know that we were doing this call, and especially not with me. But everyone, welcome to the show, and I'm so excited about this production because it carries a lot of history, music, pain, and triumph, and so many stories that are interesting enough still being told today, and most importantly needing to be told today. For each of you, and this is just a first kind of question, when you think of just being a part of this project, for each of you, what was the first feeling you had when you became a part of I Cried the Blues? Candiace, we can start with you since you're at the top.
Thank you. I love this question. I am a huge believer and a proponent of telling these stories ad nauseum. Like, we live in a time where, you run into people who say, oh, slavery was so long ago, Jim Crow was so long ago. And we don't need to keep beating these stories and, beating a dead horse. We need to move forward. And, the plight of the Black person isn't that anymore.
Right.
And I vehemently disagree.
Candiace, what just happened last week? I mean, here we
Well,
are.
that is the point. We need to tell stories like I've Cried the Blues, I think now more than ever, because we are seeing, protections like the Voting Rights Act weakened. We are seeing, gerrymandering and redlining and all of these things that were birthed and created during Jim Crow. The Voting Rights Act of 1965. So this is just 20 years after the time period of this play. And it just
5 guys.
Yes, and to me, it's a reminder that progress is never a permanent thing. And we have to keep telling these stories and showing up and using our voices on the stage and at the ballot box.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
That's why I will always, wherever I can be cast, I will tell these stories.
And all of the things. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Darrel,
Yeah.
same question, right? When you became a part of I Cried the Blues, what was kind of that first feeling for you?
Well, first I was like, oh, I'm honored that I was asked. I was like,
You're like,
okay.
I'm gonna start there.
Yeah, I was like, okay, me, sure. You know what I'm saying? But then when I started to read the script, and I was like, okay, right? Realizing that my grandmother was born in 1941, right? And I said the first time we did it, I went home and I had a conversation with her. And I was like, you know what? What was life like? I'm realizing that I've been with you all my life, right? But I haven't been with you all of yours. So you've seen many different things. Like, what is this about? And to see that my grandmother saw the first Black president, all of these things happened for her so that she can live a life and provide for her family, all the while to also see at the same time some of those rights get taken away again, right? So for me, it is beautiful to be able to sit here and say, I'm a part of something that tells a reality and a truth in this country that we live in, and it's not going to go anywhere. And I get to play a part or play a character that was very much so common back then of young man or middle-aged man trying to make it in this country. So there's a lot of burden, but also a lot of fear. And so I'm grateful to represent even the quote unquote worst of us sometimes that's just really trying to, but I'll say the misunderstood
The
of us.
misunderstanding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Karen and Dennis, I kind of want to change it up for you two. As we said earlier with Candice, the story is set in 1945 in Little Rock. But the theme still, as we have all just said, still feels very current. For you both, why does this story still matter in 2026? And Karen or Dennis, whoever wants to
I'll
start.
let Karen go first.
Yeah.
It still echoes Candace's sentiments once again, and what we're seeing right now across socials, the fallouts. I honestly speaking, I have a family member that I came to a realization that you don't see me as human because you voted one way. You voted a different way than I thought you would. And of course, I know that's why they say those are hot topics people tend to stay away from. But the fact that I had that realization and it affected our relationship. And that's unfortunate, but and it's such a divide in the community right now. And I'm seeing it across social media. It's just so disheartening what's happening right now for us as a community. What is going on? Who's drinking the Kool-Aid?
Yes.
It's like that's what I'm trying to figure out. I was like, the Kool-Aid is like sweet because
Is.
I don't understand what's going on.
Well, and I think a lot of us are really trying to build and understand access and alignment and understand where our own community is communing at this space.
Yeah.
Dennis, same question for you.
Yeah, when you take a look at the landscape today and we're at war without reason that we really truly even understand, and something that has nothing to do with we shouldn't be involved in anyway, right? And then we look at the time of I've Cried the Blues in 1945. There was also World War II going on, being in spaces we didn't have to be in, but then yet putting African American people on the front line and not being protected, knowing they were going to be the first ones to be killed, and just putting us out there in a way where it really was not benefiting America, but also traumatizing Black people at the same time.
Yeah.
And then sending us back home with broken legs and ligaments and saying, figure it out from here. And it's not even just about the war aspect, but it's the war that happens in the mindset that people tend to stay in, and they can't get out of that. And then that mindset then carries on from generation to generation to generation. And we wonder why, when things get rolled back, why it's not just a rollback in a couple of years. It's rolling back from generation. We never even got out of it often enough in the first place, and it's being rolled back again. So it's another delay of people being set back, and we're seeing that today. You're seeing people that getting drafted into war, although it's not even being talked about as much. It's just so many things happening right now. And the musical covers all of that. So that's the reason why it's super important right now to talk about that.
When I think about this story, immediately, the story, it goes deeper than just the message, right? Dennis, when you think of Maddie is fighting. Maddie is fighting for freedom in every sense of the word. Was she inspired by women you've known, or women that history sometimes overlooks?
Great question. Maddie is a force. And I think that when you are a forces also come against you.
Yeah.
And to have that ability, specifically as a Black woman, I have seen the way Black women have moved through history and how they have always had to be resilient and show up even in times where they can't even show up for themselves, but they have to show up for the family. Like, it's oftentimes we think, oh, okay, the man makes the money, blah, blah, blah. The caring, the heart is with the woman, and that is the nurturer. And I really wanted to show Black women how beautiful they are, how resilient they are, how brilliant they are, how talented they are. And they know this, but sometimes stories don't reflect that. So I wanted to be very specific and clear in showing, yes, we see the trauma. Yes, we see the drama. Yes, we see the heartache. Yes, we see the pain, but then we also see the glory. We
Yeah.
also see how powerful you are and also how magnetic they are because you get pulled into Maddie's world and you do see your grandmother. You
You
do
do.
see your mom. You do
Mhm.
see your sister. And I think that's the reason why the play resonates with so many people and why it is called I've Cried the Blues because you're going to cry the blues because
You're gonna cry the.
you're going to cry the blues because you see familiarity.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Candiace, people know you from television and music, which we absolutely love your music. But
Thank you.
theater acts a different kind of vulnerability when you think of
Mm.
the craft itself. What has this experience unlocked in Candiace Dillard Bassett?
Oh wow. I'm living in a dream that I didn't think would be real for me ever. And then when I like allowed myself to really live in the fullness of my dreams. I always saw myself potentially doing theater later in life. Like let me accomplish some other goals first, and then maybe I will have proven myself worthy enough to get on the
Yeah,
stage. So to be in this space now, and living in the fullness of one of my dreams, one of my vision board items. It feels right. It feels on time. And particularly because theater has always sort of reflected the times that we live in. I think um, this medium has always been a space where you can express, socioeconomic and sociopolitical views and speak from the heart of the people. And it's so much fun and such an honor to get to do that. Um, and it's not just about politics. It's about people and power and
community. Yeah.
yes, all of that, and people whose voices um don't aren't protected,
Right.
and we
Yeah.
we get to tell the stories of those voices and those people, and I get to be a part of that, so
You
it's
know,
super
listen,
cool.
you're amongst good company. Darrel,
Very much so.
right? Darrel, you moved audiences through music for years. How different is it when music must now advance a character's pain, but also love and survival on stage?
Oh, you better ask. I think it's one thing to marry the two, right? Because you get a chance to emote musically. That's for me, that's an easier
Mhm.
thing. I've been doing that a long time. But to have to do it in a way where you now have to become the emotion by way of character, by way of person,
Yeah,
Mm,
is an even it's to me, it's more it's different, but it's more I like it better, right?
mm,
Because you can sing through it, feel it, and throw it away.
exactly.
But
mm,
when you are
mm,
acting or when you're actually becoming a character, you have to sit in that for a little bit. And it really teaches you how to be more empathetic,
Mhm.
teaches you how to kind of approach people with more grace, with more understanding and compassion, because you now understand that there are people out here who are
Yeah,
dealing with things and feeling things that you will never ever feel or think or whatever the case, because it's just not your story, it's not your experience. So when you take on these different roles or whatever, you get a chance to feel what other people are feeling.
yeah.
And it is a beautiful experience. Honestly, it really truly is a beautiful experience. And then to be able to feel it and then sing it is
Hmm.
something
mm,
even better. Makes
I was
to
gonna say
me
that's even
makes
larger. Yeah.
it makes it better. It makes it you feel it more. So I'm
mhm,
honored that I was given the opportunity to do it. Because it's I don't think that people really understand what it feels like to feel other people's stuff. Because we
Hmm.
mm,
don't like to do that, and specifically in this time, it's too much going on. I got me to
Right.
take care of.
Right.
But when you feel other people's stuff and you actually open up your eyes and your heart and feel what's around you, you be like, oh,
yeah,
okay. Me
I,
too,
I
and
got
you
I
too.
might have it a little bit more
mhm,
easier. And I think to all of your points, right? The reality is we're all standing on the shoulders and the backs of so many people that have experienced life before
Yeah.
us and have experienced the things as we are currently going through the things. But when I think about range, immediately this woman's range is out of this world. Karen, man,
Okay.
Karen. I think we should go there when we speak about your incredible range and your experience. I think that's the word that I really want to talk about is just the experience space of it. How do you use your voice not to just sing, but also just to tell the truth?
Good question. I learned from the greats. I don't have the typical little kid story at 6 years old, stuff like that. I learned from the greats. My teachers were Aretha. My teacher was Patty. My teacher was Shaka. My teacher was James. It was in a slew of
Yeah.
others. Some of the
Yeah.
great, again, just coming up under that. And telling a story, I think I've kind of always acted on stage. I know a lot of times singers will talk about having an alter ego as well. So you transform into this other person because I think someone did remark to me, you're a completely different person off stage than you are on stage. Well, I mean, in a sense, I am acting
Yeah.
while on stage singing. So it's a kind of it's all meshed together.
Yeah.
So yeah, but and digging down deep into this character, like I said, a part of her, Maddie, resonated with me. Um, hmm, just as far as the lifing part,
Mm.
the struggle part,
Yeah.
the trying to break free part,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, the transformation part. So all those things, yeah.
When
So
we
it's
Well, and I was going to say to your point, when we think of resilience, though, I mean, your character definitely embodies that. And everyone on this call absolutely embodies that. When we think of, I remember going to a play last week here in Hollywood, the MJ musical, and also seeing the movie at the red carpet screening. And it's interesting enough when I think of theater and how it still kind of speaks to all of us in different magnitudes. And I know that this play does this for a lot of you guys. Do you guys, and this is a everyone question, do you think theater can still shift culture the way music and film do?
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes, what I love the most about, again, this medium is that you are combining acting and singing, but because you can do that on television and you can do that in film, but what you don't have in those spaces is the live aspect of it. You
Yeah.
have to be a particular kind of crazy and a particular kind of a
Yeah.
beast to sign up
Yeah.
to do something like this. And we are claiming Broadway for this show.
Come
So
on.
it can be done eight times a week.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
to do that, to sing and dance and act 8 times a week on Broadway, off Broadway, in the West End, like all of you have to be insane, but it's so magical and
It
it's
is.
so just it's a world like no other. And it's addicting in a lot of ways. And people who, theater goers who I have friends who are like, I was in a bad mood today. I just feel like going to see a show.
Yeah.
And you go and
It
just
changes your
it
whole
changes your
mood.
whole
Yeah,
vibe.
it
There's
does.
nothing like live
Yeah.
theater. There's nothing
Yeah.
like theater.
Nothing. No,
Yeah.
to your point. And I think I wanted to ask Darrel and Dennis this. I love this as we think about the responsibility of culture. What responsibility comes with portraying Black struggle while also honoring Black joy?
Let me tell you, you are on it with these questions.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Um,
Can you send me these in advance next time?
You know
I
what?
think,
You know what's crazy? After 300 shows, we've never sent anyone from celebrities and CEOs and writers. No
yeah.
one's ever gotten the questions. They were like, "Well, who the hell is Jameer?" Well, we're gonna do it anyway because he seems cool, and we're like, "Oh, we love him now because he
Yeah.
changed." But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I
Yeah.
think it's important to show duality, right?
Yeah.
We don't live a one kind of life. No one person is living one life. It's not always good and always bad, right? So I think it is very important to remind us that we come from a place and also we can get to a place. I said they asked what we wanted the people to see or get from the show, the last interview, and I said I want the people to understand that it can still happen.
Mhm.
It can happen, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna go through stuff. You need to see that you're not the only person who's going through things,
Yes.
but you also
Yes.
need to see that this is not it.
No.
There are opportunities, there are ways, there are things. Time is a part of it,
Mhm.
work is a part of it, losing your ego is a part of it,
Yeah.
a lot of different things.
All
You
of the
have
things.
to see
Yeah.
the all facets of, specifically as a black man, all facets of a black man. So you see a straight black man who's trying to make it. You see a gay black man who's trying to become. You're trying to see so many different things. You need to see yourself and also understand that there is going to be a grit and a struggle, but there will be a flow later. I
Yeah.
think it's very important that we continuously show that
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
Always say it's about the journey. Dennis, if you want to
Yes.
touch anything as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's really important for me to show duality because it also shows possibility.
Mm.
I think that when you're able to really show people that, yes, you might be up here, and yes, you might be down here, yes, you might be up again, and yes, you might be down again, it is a reflection of a wave, but it's also a reflection sometimes of decisions.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is things that are beyond your control, and it's important to show sometimes how our decisions also create the environment that we're living in to get out of the victim mentality, but to
Yeah.
also choose differently.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because you'll keep getting the same experiences coming back around your way over and over again until that lesson is learned. Now, some things are out of your control, but when you do get those lessons that are out of your control, how do you walk through it? How do you
Correct.
handle it?
Yeah.
And do you do it with grace until you come out on the other side and learn what that lesson was for you?
I
And
mean,
that's
if
what we
y'all
call
all just want to
it.
do an essence panel, just say that. Just
We are
say that.
available.
I mean,
Yes.
well, I'm not available, but no. I will say, and I think chemistry is something that we talk about alignment a lot. And I remember in every season of my life, I always think of a word that I always want to live by. And the last season of my life, it was all about intention, and this season, it's all about access. For you guys, the chemistry is a little bit of everything, and we can already feel that on the call. Karen, I want to ask you one word for Candiace. What has rehearsing together taught you about one another? One word.
Good.
Kindness. Even though we haven't really had a scene together,
Yeah.
we it's kind of like we're strangers
Mm-hmm.
passing along each other. But yeah, kindness.
Candiace, who in this cast makes everyone laugh when the material gets too heavy?
Oh, there are a couple of people. I at least this last week, there have been many times where I will look at Darrel and will be like, oh my gosh, like what is happening?
Right. Right.
Yes, Darrel is people don't know that Darrel is really funny. Like he's
I
hilarious.
learned that.
And yeah. And I love to laugh. I love to be silly. So when I find that spirit in someone else, I automatically want to like cling to it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Dennis, this theater carries a lot of history. And I think a lot of people don't really understand that whenever we go to certain spaces, whether it's a theater, whether it is a place of whatever that holds so much history. What does performing in this specific theater mean personally for each of you?
Oh, so this for me goes back to a legacy and a footprint at the same time. When I walked into the theater Thursday and I went upstairs, there's this big wall and it starts off at 1914. And all of the shows that went through this theater from 1914 through 2015 have went from there to Broadway. So when we talk about possibility again, when you talk about the time frames and the history of all of the things that allowed us to even be where we are today, regardless of
Yes.
whatever kind of production it was, it's the simple fact that possibility was there, it was done. So it just lets me know, okay, so as this timeline moves along, I expect to see I've Cried the Blues there. So when other people
Absolutely.
walk through this building, they understand that we were a part of this history.
Absolutely. As we get ready to close out, I think of legacy, especially in this culture. because legacy means so much, and this play really is going to resonate with so many people. Karen, one word that describes this production.
Gripping.
Darrel, one lesson that this story has taught you.
Ooh. There is always more. There's always more.
Candiace, one reason everyone needs to experience this show live.
Because it is a part of American history. And in a time where they're trying to erase our history, it's our responsibility to take in these stories so that we can be reminded of the resilience of our people and take that back into our communities and back into our families and use that to not allow history to repeat itself.
And Dennis, what are you most proud of in this moment?
In this moment, what am I most proud of? I am most proud of the work that we've all done collectively and the vision that God has given to make this unfold.
Karen, if Maddie could speak to audiences today, what do you think she would say to us right now?
Keep going. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I finally made it through the grace of God and my family.
My last question that I normally always ask everyone, it's always my last. Candiace, we can start with you. Candiace, what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, this is a pageant question. I would always ask this when I was judging pageants. I want my legacy to be that I did everything, and whenever it is that I leave this earth, that I leave empty, because I left it all here. I gave everything, and my hope is that people are inspired by my crazy dreams and my audacity to do exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Darrel.
I echoed that, but
I was going to say, who inspires you?
Oh, okay. So funny enough, right? My mother inspires me, right? So my mom had 8 kids. She had me at 19 and then had 7 other children over the course of life. And I watched my mom through every season of her life just keep going. Go, go, go. You don't got enough money now, keep going.
Yeah.
You don't have it right now, keep going. You don't look good right now, you keep going. She woke up every day, did hair. And at one point when there was no money, cut hair. She did everything, made dinner, was a wife, was a just
All
and the minister of music at a church, just balancing and was like, hey. And even though she may have broken down in her own personal time, when we saw her, there was just this confidence and this strength. And what it taught me was if that lady can do that, I don't even have the things that she has, then I don't have an excuse.
Yeah.
To not just keep waking up every day and keep going.
Karen, what would 5-year-old Karen tell herself about the rest of her life?
You'll come out. God, because at the age of 5, little Karen went through abandonment. That's when when the parents separated and daddy left home. So Karen speaking in the third person, Karen experienced abandonment, and spent many years after that fighting through that feeling, and still struggles with that a little bit, even on the 5th floor nowadays, telling my age. But I would say
you look good, girl. Stop it. Look good.
Through growth, through therapy, through trials and tribulations, again, still experiencing those later in life. It's just something that never leaves you. But there's a but there. But I'm finding more joy now in this season of my life.
Yeah.
So as I've gotten older, as my mind has changed, I've changed tremendously. And I was able to express those things too to the parental, have those conversations and let them know what I didn't appreciate. Which a lot of I'll say a lot of Black children don't always get to do. Have that real live conversation with your parents and say, I really didn't dig how
this happened.
How things happened, how things went through us. And there's some things some decisions that you made in your life that impacted me, and I didn't quite appreciate that. Yeah. So I'm grateful that I did get to have that opportunity with my dad and let him know that as well. So a lot of growth. And I don't use the word, I don't know about the word quite forgiveness. I don't know if do you truly ever forgive like all the way through? No. I mean, there's some things that still linger with you through life.
Yes.
And so it's like, but I understand because you came from a different generation, different time, and you did the best you could. I'm trying to live with that now. You did the best you could but
the thing, and listen, I've always said accountability is what's most important,
I'm huge on accountability. Huge. And I'm that person now. I'm big on accountability. So and I'll take that on myself, but
that's it. And lastly, and definitely most important, Dennis, when audiences leave the theater, what emotion do you hope stays with them the longest?
Repeat that one more time.
It's okay. What emotion do you hope stays with audiences the longest once they leave the theater?
I want them to feel transcended. I want them to feel powerful. I want them to feel hope and belief. I want them to feel renewed. I want them to walk away with an open heart and a changed mind for some people when they see certain messages. And I want them to walk away feeling like they could do anything for those who sit there and dream and also inspire and who want to create and are scared to go for it, to be in a space and place and time, to sit in one of those seats to say, if they could do that, if she could sing, if he can act, if he can write, I can do that too. And I want them to walk away feeling like their dreams are reachable.
That part. Everybody, I'm so excited. I've Cried the Blues featuring Dennis Williams, Candiace, Dillard, Basset, Darrel, Walls, and of course, Karen, Linette. I'm so excited for all of you guys because you guys have done and continue to do something that is leaving footprints for so many people. As we always say on Power 97.5 LA, iHeartRadio, and Power B 97.5 Vegas, stay positive, but stay creative. Until next time, thank you guys for tuning in.
Don't you let nobody ever take your power away from you. I know it's